Association with ESPN. The National Hot Rod Association. Over 65,000 race fans here at Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida for the continuation of the U.S. Hot Rod Association Mud Racing and Monster Truck National Championship Series. I'm Brett Kepner, and along with Jerry Devine, we'll be bringing you the action from Jerry, what is annually one of the greatest events.
The Super Bowl of motorsports, the 16 of the top monster trucks and the fastest mud races you're going to find anywhere.
I'll tell you, our camera crews are just about ready to get things going. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us for the beginning of the action here at Tampa Stadium at what is one of the best events of the U.S. Hot Rod Association year.
Click as part of the special TV offer.
This free video shows you how Bowflex lets you outperform Nordic.
We're back at the Super Bowl of Motorsports, brought to you in part by Kicker, high-performance automotive speaker systems by Stillwater Design. Jerry Devine, we've already run monster truck qualifying in the number 16 spot, the Nebraska-based Big Red Truck. 15th is a brand-new Ford called Rocky Mountain Thunder.
In the number 14 spot, Alan Pezo with the Predator. Number 13, Warthog, driven by Trevor Fornus. And the number 12 position went to the Bad News, Nroman Meyer.
In the number 11 spot, Kevin Dabney in the Southern Hustler, big-time favorite down here in Florida. This is his home state, as a matter of fact. He'll be a crowd favorite. And in the number 10 spot, another Florida Ford, this one the Thumper entry, driven by Duane Dagit.
Number 9 went to Evil Force, Reis Ecology. While number 8, No Problem, John Moore. The number 7 position went to High Voltage, driven by Jeff Bainter.
The number 6 position, indeed one of the strongest trucks we've seen so far this year, the incredible Bearfoot entry of Warren Davis from the state of Montana. While the number 5 position went to probably the strongest rookie of the 1990 season, the hot stuff Jeep of Wisconsin's Todd Blaeser.
John Piant, driving Bigfoot, took the number 4 position, and in number 3, Jim Reis with the Eliminator.
2 previous winners we've seen so far this year, and the first winner of the year. Rob Morris in the 4-wheel crazy was number 2, but the number 1 qualifier was, of course, Jack Willman Jr. in the incredible Taurus Chevrolet, which suffered severe front-end damage during qualifying, Jerry, and it'll be a miracle if they can get this thing on the line for the first round of competition.
Well, here come the first pair of monster trucks right now. Coming up first will be Evil Force, driven by Reis Ecology from St. Louis with a 22,000-pound tow truck. This used to be called Big Toe. It's now called Evil Force. And I'm not sure if our number 1 qualifier is going to be able to make it, Brett.
He's waiting. I'll tell you, Piorkowski showing his sportsmanship, but there they are. Jack Willman has made it back to the starting line. Jerry, that crew has thrashed for 3 hours to repair the front-end damage they suffered after qualifying on the pole. What a job.
Well, this first round ought to be very exciting just to see Taurus, to see if they can hold that together. Jack Willman takes it easily.
Looking at the slow-motion replay, you could see Reis Ecology, after waiting patiently on the line for that machine to show up. 22,000 pounds of Ford, 5 feet in the air. But even at this point, Jerry, on the second ramp, he was already a half track behind the incredible Taurus machine.
Jack Willman really has got that machine dialed in tonight.
Tell you, like I said, Piorkowski should be commended for his sportsmanship and waiting for the Taurus team. But here you see the pole qualifier head on. Simply an amazing amount of power in this supercharged Chevy. And Willman makes it over the cars that makes it look effortless, Jerry.
Parts flying off of those junk cars. Not too much air. Did you notice that?
It's true, and of course, in a serious monster truck competition like this, where everything's on the line, the objective is to keep it as close to the ground as possible. You'll just waste time in the air.
All right, our next pair coming up. It's going to be Hot Stuff, driven by Todd Blaeser. He's ready to go in his lane, and here's his competition, the Warthog, driven by Trevor Fornus. About ready to go. They are poised for action. Here we go now. Warthog wins.
A truly incredibly close battle. Trevor Fornus, in his first ever national event in the U.S. Open Association Trail with the Warthog, won that one by inches. I'll tell you what, Jerry, if the finish line had not been 4 cars from the end of that line, he would have lost, because Todd Blaeser passed him by the end of the cars, but the finish line is located 4 cars from the end of the line.
That's true. The hot stuff was really coming on at that finish line.
Amazing run. Trevor Fornus with a major upset. Got to remember, the driver of this bright red Jeep from Wisconsin is probably the hottest rookie of the 1990 season so far. Look at the bounce he took and kept in the throttle to hit the second set of cars. At this point, he had to be looking over, because right there, while he was in the air, that was the finish line. He loses it by inches. Great race.
Next pair of monster trucks coming up to the line right now, getting ready to go. It'll be the Southern Hustler, driven by Kevin Dabney. And his competition will be the Eliminator, driven by Jim Reis. Both machines ready to go.
Another incredible come-from-behind win. What a job by Reis. You remember the Ecology Eliminator won one of our ESPN national events in the U.S. Open Association Trail earlier this year. This guy can drive, coming from behind after a big hole shot by Dabney, then way up in the air at the finish line to win it. I'll tell you what, that had to be close for both drivers. They had to be wondering who won that one.
Jim Reis, definitely a driver to watch tonight.
You see Kevin Dabney leaving the starting line after getting a great hole shot, the rear-engined truck. It's the only one in competition to the 16-car monster truck field. Right there, definitely getting sideways and a rough landing. Dabney, the home state hero, fails to overcome the big Chevy.
You can feel the electricity here at Tampa Stadium. These 65,000 people watch on and waiting for the continuation of the first round of Monster Trucks. We'll be back with the first round of Monster Trucks, but first this. Welcome back to the U.S. Hot Rod Association Mud and Monster Racing Championships in Tampa Stadium.
Well, Jerry, we've already seen 3 heats in the first round of the monster trucks, but we still have Bigfoot, Barefoot, Four-Wheel Crazy to Go, and the Wild Man of U.S. Open Association Monster Truck Racing in the near lane in the next match.
Yes, and the hot ones are coming up. Next pair ready to go. In this lane, we have Rocky Mountain Thunder, driven by Nick Jackson.
Relatively new truck out of Colorado, but he's up against a superstar, if there ever was one, on the U.S. Open Association trails here.
You better believe it. It is high voltage.
Jeff Bainter, the man who will drive through anything, is pulling up in the mirror lane with his incredible Jeep. He's as wild as they come.
Jeff Bainter about ready to go. Let's watch this one. This ought to be a good race. High voltage takes the win.
Tell you, Nick Jackson, a wild ride down there in the corner in the shutdown area. I can't believe Jackson's heavyweight Ford made it such a close race against Bainter. Jackson drove like he's never driven before. This is his first full year on the National Event Tour, sideways in the air, landing, trying to get on the brakes, bouncing all over the place, people running for their lives. Unbelievable run. He finally gets it stopped right up against the retaining wall, everything under control. But in the other lane, watch this launch, taking the front wheels of this short wheelbase, hard-to-control Jeep. Washington veteran Jeff Bainter just drives like there's no tomorrow, as always. Watch this second hit. Under power, bouncing. The machine keeps it nice and even above the cars. A great, great win by a matter of inches. Every run we've seen, Jerry, is this close.
It has really been a close night of competition, and boy, you can imagine what those finals are going to be. All right, our next pair are coming to the starting line right now. It'll be No Problem, driven by John Moore. Going against him will be Big Red, driven by Gary Schram. Let's watch him now as they ease toward that starting line and getting ready to go. Wow, big red. He almost went over.
I'll tell you what, that thing was in the air, and I don't think anybody expected this match to be as much of a blowout as it was. Look at Schram, he's happy. I'll tell you, Tennessee driver John Moore came off the starting line well, but ran out of steam somewhere on the top of the first set of cars. There you see it got very little air. There was really no hope for it at that point. Schram is driving a brand-new truck in the other lane that nobody had any idea was as strong as it was. John Moore finally got back under power over the second set of cars, but by then it was way too late. You can see Schram in the other lane already stopped. I'll tell you what, the big red machine from the state of Nebraska was mighty impressive. Like I said, a brand-new ride, a relatively unknown driver on the Camel Series. But that first set of cars, that launch, showed that he had the power. When he bounced it and put the wheels up in the air again, then it really sailed. And the landing, Jerry, like you pointed out, was as wild as they come.
Right on that left front wheel. He had all three wheels off the ground there for a while. Well, coming up next, it's going to be Bad News, driven by Nroman Meyer.
This is another brand-new driver and a brand-new truck. We had a lot of new drivers decide to hit the U.S. Hobbit Association Camel National Event Trail starting here, but look who he's up against.
Bigfoot, driven tonight by John Piant. John is ready to go, going against Bad News. Bad News got his hands full. Here we go. And John Piant takes the win pretty easily.
You have to remember, Piant had a lot to prove here tonight. He's leading the World Championship points race. This brand-new driver trying to get up on the first set of cars had more than his fair share of problems. The Oklahoma City pilot tried to get back into the throttle. Nroman Meyers hits the second set of cars in much better fashion. But, of course, when you're running against the Big Blue Ford from St. Louis, there's more pressure on you than in any other race. He makes the turn with the alcohol flame coming out of the exhaust headers through the hood there. What a shot. Look at that photo. Unbelievable. In any case, John Piant, the Bigfoot driver who leads the U.S. Hobbit Association Camel World Championship, was picture perfect. But like I said, he's got a lot to prove here tonight because he qualified only fourth behind three drivers who have already won national events this year. Look at that leap over the last set of cars. That's why Bigfoot is Bigfoot, Jerry.
Well, the Predator coming up next, driven by Pezo. And going against him will be Warren Davis driving Bearfoot. Bearfoot, a Chevrolet, and the Chevrolet fans have a real tough machine here that they can cheer about tonight.
We saw the incredible Barefoot Chevy of Warren Davis score a runner-up at one of our first events on ESPN this year in Seattle, Washington. We saw Pezo do a tremendous job in San Diego.
Let's watch this one. This ought to be a good matchup. Barefoot takes the win.
Man, did you see Pezo and the Predator moving in on Barefoot, though, down at the finish line. Had Pezo not had a stumble at the start, he would have probably driven around this machine. Warren Davis, great starting line launch, never a bobble throughout the entire 250-foot course. Here you see him wheels up, coming down nicely, real nicely in the heavyweight Chevrolet. But, boy, Pezo in the other lane really made a charge at the end to make it close. About a half a truck length, in fact, at the finish line. Let's see if we can spot where Predator had the problem. Right there, the nose comes down immediately right after hitting the first set of cars. That's probably what hurt him, and that may have been a driver decision to try and keep it low, and he went too low. Look at the sparks as he hurt the front drivetrain. Obvious problems, bouncing all over the place in the shutdown area. Pezo knows, though, that he gave it everything he had.
Well, two more to go in the first round of competition. It'll be Thumper, driven by Duane Dagit.
Dagit driving a Florida truck, and he's up against a tough one.
He certainly is. Rob Morris from Fort Worth, Texas, and four-wheel crazy. Oh, no! Four-wheel crazy break.
I'll tell you, the Florida fans love every minute of that in the biggest single upset we have seen so far. Jerry, you're well aware that Rob Morris won the huge event at Anaheim, California. He has been in the points race as well. Something breaks the minute he hits the first set of the cars. The Florida Thumper Ford goes on to win. You can just imagine the thoughts going through Rob Morris's head. Here's Dagit, the second-generation driver of the big green Ford from down around Tampa. He hits the first set of cars nicely. Lord only knows if he'd have had the power to actually keep up with Rob Morris, but at this point it didn't matter. He was basically on a free ride.
Tough break for Rob Morris, but Thumper and his crew, they are happy.
Coming up next, if you're a mud racing fan, don't even think about going away. The supercharged, super modifieds are coming up.
The only war zone, the only battleground, we're going to be going into mud racing now. It'll be another part of the Tampa Stadium where we're going to do battle.
Right down the center of Tampa Stadium, in fact. Side by side, super modified mud racing as only the U.S. Hot Rod Association can bring it to you with the quickest and fastest four-wheel drive machines in the world. Jerry, a standard program, 80 foot of acceleration, but you see those yellow camel banners at the very end of the course. You've got to stop your machine without touching those banners or you'll be disqualified.
The Super Bowl of Motorsports being brought to you in part by Kicker, high-performance auto speakers by Stillwater Design.
Well, 1 year ago here at Tampa Stadium, this incredible turbocharged Volkswagen mud dragster slammed into the wall. He's going to have an exhibition run here again.
Wow, look at this. Look out, look out, look out. Oh, he ripped that tire right off the rim.
It's an amazing machine, isn't it? A twin turbocharged Volkswagen engine that runs as quick and as fast as the supercharged V8 Super Modified, and that was a heck of a driving job. Look at that, the tire torn right off the rim, just like you said, Jerry, and that was an exceptional run. Believe it or not, 2.28 seconds for the Fisher Buggies Volkswagen, and he's going to drive the thing back to the pit.
Unbelievable. I was afraid he was going to hit the wall again.
I'll tell you, he did some bouncing, and when the machine dug in, it tore that wheel right off the rim. Look at this thing. Wheels up, blasting through 80 feet of mud. Now, he couldn't stop it because it was in the air. That's why he couldn't get on the brakes. Right through to the disqualification banner. Look at his hands off the wheel as he tries to steer it straight. What a ride in front of 65,000 people.
Oh, look at this one. The Hoosier Hustler, driven by Kevin Kolish. Beautiful machine.
Nitrous oxide injected 89 IROC Z28 Camaro, and he is up against the man who holds the 1.91 second track record here, Jerry.
Little roadster driven by John Runner. This is called Rapid Transit. Wow! And he goes through the disqualification banners.
We had just no sooner finished talking about it than the first man out goes through it. Here's John Runner, Florida's own, with his incredible Jeep funny car, 2.20 seconds. Remember, this is an elapsed time competition. The four quickest vehicles will return for the Camel Shootout. Now, in the other lane, Kevin Kolish's nitrous oxide-injected Camaro on the brakes hard, even puts it sideways to keep from going out. No way, Jose. He is history.
All right, next pair of machines coming to the line. It's going to be the A-Team, driven by Dick Wilson.
Like John Runner, he is a past champion here at Tampa.
And his competition will be Stroll for Gold, Gary Osteen.
Fuel-injected, nitrous-injected Chevrolet power in the near lane.
80 feet to start, 80 feet to stop. Let's watch him run. Way out in front. Oh, and Osteen goes over the disqualification banner.
I'll tell you, he was doing everything he could to stop. Dick Wilson, like I said, has won this event before, 2.33 seconds. That will give him the second quickest lap time. Rear wheels in the air, and then all four locked up. He stops with a good 10 feet to spare. On the other lane, it was a completely different story. The beautiful gold metal flake Jeep funny car dug in right off the start. That wasn't going to help as he T 2.34 seconds right with Wilson, but look at this. Bouncing off the starting line, the brakes covered with mud. Look at the look on his face. He knows exactly what happened.
Well, the next pair of machines coming up ought to be a good one. The Coors Bullet, with Wesley Newman behind the controls, and he'll be going against Black Magic.
You know, this Coors Light truck has been astounding this year. It's a brand new machine. We've seen it before on ESPN's coverage of U.S. Highway Association events, but this car, Al Stebbins' Florida-based Black Magic Corvette, has been one of the strongest machines in the southeastern part of the country for almost a decade. It's literally almost a legend down here, Jerry.
Pair of machines that are really, really strong runners. Let's watch them. Wow, he takes the back end right up off the ground.
I got to tell you, only Al Stebbins could come up with showmanship in stopping a car like that. 2.32 seconds. That will give him the third quickest time. Watch this stop. Hard on the brakes, rear end 3 feet in the air. He puts her sideways with more than enough room. The problems also covered the other lane. Big-time engine problems for the Coors Light supercharged Chevy. Their history. Here's a young man looking good in points, Chad Miller from Ohio with the Instant P.
And he'll be going against the Dream Chaser, driven by Tony Lannis.
Lannis in a brand new machine. It's never been in the mud before. He used to have a Camaro mud racer. In the near lane, a brand new supercharged engine for the Instant T from Ohio.
Great looking hot rods. Here we go. Oh, no!
Absolutely unbelievable ride. I cannot believe that machine landed on all 4 wheels. The paramedics and even his crew already there. Take a look. The starting line launches the supercharged motor. Beautiful. He goes through the shutdown area sideways, bicycles on 2 wheels, digs in and puts it over. Just hanging there in the air, Jerry. I've never seen anything like that.
Took the wing off the top, but the roll cage stayed intact perfectly.
I'll tell you, looking at it head on, I don't think there was that much damage at all. 2.52 seconds. He had a lot of tire spin. Look at the tire distortion, just about out of bounds. Now up on 2 wheels. He hangs on and digs in. Incredible. Standing straight up in front of 65,000 people, and Chad Miller was fine. You can see him in the cockpit. He just lifts up the visor and says, "How did I do?" Unbelievable.
Well, they're pulling them off now. A lot of hay in the blower there.
Hit one of the side markers, and I'll tell you what, considering the fact that only a few yards of that machine touched dirt, he's lucky to get out of that with as little damage as was done, Jerry. It's amazing because Tony Lannis got to the finish line long before he did. Lannis' brand new Dream Chaser on its first ever trip through the mud really put one down. Look at this launch. 2.17 seconds. Huge power stand at mid-track. He gets on the brakes and stops it in plenty of time with the quickest run so far. You think that was wild? Stick around. We've got more super modified mud racing from the Super Bowl of Motorsports coming up. Stadium to watch this man, the 2-time and defending super modified mud racing world champion Tom Martin out of Valparaiso, Indiana, in the incredible Mud Patrol.
He's going to be tough to beat, but here's the one that's going to try. More Sure Madness, driven by Kenny Heckle.
Now remember, the objective here in super modified mud racing is to be one of the 4 quickest runs through this 80-foot long pit. Right now, in order to be a part of the 4-car Camel Shootout, in which the 4 quickest return for the big overall prize, it takes a run of quicker than 2.33 seconds to qualify. The quickest run we've seen so far has been the Dream Chaser at 2.17.
Tom Martin bringing it up to the line. Here we go as we continue on with the Mud Racing Championship. Wow, Tom Martin puts the pedal down.
I'll tell you what, in the other lane, Kenny Heckle sailed through the disqualification barrier, but Tom Martin puts down the numbers he's known for. A great run. At 2.42 seconds, Kenny Heckle had a good run going, but look at this. Even though the kill switch shuts the motor down, he has no brakes. He just sails through that thing and makes the slow turn around the giant Tampa Stadium floor. That was enough to get the machine slowed down to a stop. But in the other lane, look at this launch. Look at the tire distortion. 2.12 seconds for the 2-time world champ. Tom Martin, as always, Jerry, takes the #1 qualifying spot.
And consistent. All right, our next racer coming up, the intruder, Tom Martin, doing the driving.
Brand new machine for the Ohio driver. You can see the blue nitrous oxide bottle on the front there, and he's up against the incredible supercharged Ford Ranger from Rhode Island, Jerry.
Steve Balthasar going with all blown out. Here we go. Let's watch him.
Takes a run of 2.32 seconds to qualify.
Whoa! And he rolls over the disqualification line.
Did you see the look on Tom Marsh's face when he just touched that DQ line? He was mad. Balthazar's supercharged Ford-powered Ranger had engine problems right at the finish line. We'll have to wait to see the number. But look at poor Tom Marsh. Had a great run going. In fact, the elapsed time came out to 2.38 seconds. But then just by inches, he's over the line, and he knows it. In the meantime, Steve Balthazar in the other lane, 2.21 seconds. That will qualify him barely in the quick four. There you see the smoke. That's not just steam, but engine smoke. And Balthazar knows he's got engine problems.
Oh, look at this hot rod. It's called the Dirty Bird, driven by Gary Osteen.
That name sounds familiar. We saw him earlier in his Stroll for Gold Jeep funny car. This is a brand new 1956 Ford Thunderbird with fuel-injected Ford power. What a ride.
He'll be going against Chuck Noel with the Stepchild.
I got to tell you, Jerry, we had a chance to see the Stepchild back in the pits. This may well be the most advanced, engineered-wise, mud racer we've ever seen. This thing is incredible.
Definitely see that there's some new technology here.
It's a four-wheel drive Pro Stocker. That's all it is.
All right, both drivers about ready to go. A good close run.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we were determining this on the basis of who gets there first, that one would be tough to call. But, of course, it's the quickest elapsed time that wins the race. The Stepchild at 2.42 seconds, not bad for its maiden voyage. That literally pro-modified four-wheel drive machine also stopped in time. Great run for a gorgeously constructed new machine. It won't be good enough to qualify for the quick four in the Camel Shootout. How about the brand new T-Bird? 2.63 seconds as the machine kind of dipped into the mud ruts off the starting line. But Osteen, literally there in a dead heat with the new Stepchild machine, also got on the brakes, Jim. Well, that means that we've got our four qualifiers, but we still have round two of monster truck action to come here at the Super Bowl of Motorsports. Don't even think about going away.
Stay with us. 5,000 fans here at Tampa Stadium, and they're having a great time.
There are a bunch of people out there. There's no question about that. 65,000 people is a lot of people for any stadium. But Tampa Stadium so far has held some of the most incredible racing imaginable. The super modified mud racing field is set for the Camel Shootout. In fact, as this incredible wave continues to circle this stadium, let's quickly review what happened in the first round of monster truck action. And Jerry, the crowd is loving every minute of this event. They're having fun even when there's nothing going on the track.
Well, Taurus, of course, is the story of the night. This is the monster truck that we want to keep an eye on.
No question. Remember in qualifying, they